Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ChinWag. It's actually morning as I record this, but very late morning, and by the time that this gets out, it will be the afternoon, so good afternoon to you. It's the 6th of August 2022. I'm Richard Vobes, and this is my little daily chat thing that I do with you. I've just had my logs arrived. Logs, wood-burning stove logs in August, that's right. And John, very kindly, I get 3 big bags of them, metre square bags they are. Very good value from my friend John, who is the woodman who delivers them to the door, which is lovely. He said, have you got next lot ordered? And I said, well, no, not yet. He said, well, I'm taking orders. I won't be available until October. So I thought, bloody hell, that's when we get into the time when everybody's doing it. Apparently everybody, he said something like 300 new wood-burning stoves his mate has just installed over the last few months. 300! Or he's sold them, provided them, and what have you. It does seem that people are a little bit nervous and anxious about the cost of living crisis, and they're looking towards logs. And the prices of logs have gone up, but mine, fortunately, because I've been a loyal customer, haven't. And we were talking about loyalty fairly recently, and it's nice to know that when you're dealing with a small company, a small business, loyalty is everything. However, today I want to talk about those things when they go wrong. Are you somebody in which things go wrong? You're doing something and then everything seems to go wrong, one thing after another. I was talking to the lovely Julia this morning on the phone, and she said, I'm really upset. I just dropped my phone again for the umpteenth time. And these things keep happening. Things go wrong and they can get you down. How do you react when things go wrong? Is there something that is the straw that breaks the back? Or are you very mellow? Are you enough to go, oh, well, that's that? My friend Tim, bless him, he seems to be so laid back that when things go wrong, he just goes, oh, well, that's the way it is. I was filming with him and we were trying to film where we thought an old pub was, and he accidentally reversed into a post, smashing up his bumper. Neither of us had seen it, and I would have been irate. In fact, earlier the same day, I had bashed my van and dented a little bit of my van on the top. And I was like, oh no, it's so depressing. I've managed to do that. What a shame. But Tim was so laid back. So I'm curious how people react when things go wrong. Either small things. Sometimes, you know what it is? A small thing can trigger off an argument and can trigger off a big argument in which then other things get dragged up that had no intention of being dragged up. And often the biggest arguments, it seems to me, are started with very small things. You know, it's like, you put the bloody salt cellar in that cupboard. I keep saying, please don't do it. Every time I go to look for the salt cellar, it's not. And then suddenly that becomes a major thing, which is silly. And then often it's the very big things. Hey, darling, I've just smashed the car up. Oh, are you okay? Yes. Oh, well, we'll get it on the insurance. Excuse me. Still got that wretched throat clearing thing, but it's pretty much gone now, actually. I'm very lucky. So, yeah, sometimes the big things are more, people react more stoically to. They just get on with it and go, okay, it's too big, really, to worry about. But then other people will react very differently when things go wrong. So I'm very curious, how do you react when or do things never go wrong for you? Are you just one of those people that seem to be blessed? There are people like that, aren't there? There are people who you look at and you think, I don't know, your life just seems so cushy that nothing seems to ever go wrong. Nothing ever flusters you. You seem very even-keeled. Everything just comes to you. What is your secret? Do they ever reveal it? No. Of course they don't. If you've got a secret like that and you know how to orchestrate your life so everything just seems to work, or is that just a myth? Is that us reading the wrong runes? I'd be interested in your thoughts. So do tell me, how do you react when things go wrong? Let's have a look at the comments from the last few days and see what people are saying. Joanna Jones is saying, why does one job lead to something bigger? She says, me and my partner are currently laying tiles on our kitchen floor. It's a Victorian house. Nothing is straight. Yes, mine is a Victorian house and nothing is straight. One wonders, though, whether, I mean, the Victorians were very good. They had spirit levels and things like that. They would have been able to build straight buildings, I'm sure. But over time, presumably, things get warped. The heat probably warps it. The plaster is maybe not quite as straight as it once was, and all of that. I know exactly what you're going through. My house is the same. I focus my camera. If I'm filming in here, I've got a little spirit level in the lens, and sometimes I'll be filming like that, go, okay, that is straight, and then I'll look at the scene and everything's wonky, and you go, that's what? Blooming houses. I did warn him, she says, it wouldn't be easy, but oh no, he knows best. We've never argued so much in our lives. Well, there we are. That sort of keys into exactly what we're saying at the moment. How do you react when things go badly? Giles, a Whitehead artist, says this is definitely true for me. I had a dripping tap recently. My local plumber quoted me £140 to fix it. So I thought, crikey, that's a hell of a lot to fix a dripping tap. Yeah, 140 quid to fix it. I mean, it's probably only the washer, isn't it? How hard can it be? He says, I started to take the tap apart, but was absolutely seized up. After various YouTube videos and sheer force, 2 days later, I managed to get it. Hang on, let's read more. Get the tap apart, but also managed to mangle the tap in the process. Got a new tap, but it didn't fit. Sent that back, but couldn't find any other taps that would fit the basin, so I had to get 2 taps and a blinking disc, or a blanking disc rather, not a blinking one. Existing pipes then needed to be changed to marry up with the new taps, and some days later, and various trips of the plumbing supply shop, and the new taps were installed. Cost about 50 quid in the end, and a lot of time and effort, but by golly, the satisfaction when I turned on those taps. Yes, I can absolutely vouch for that. I have done similar things with my taps, and I've always managed to think I'll tackle these jobs. I've been very lucky with a lot of good friends who have helped, and I've learnt, because sometimes if you don't know how a job is going to go and pan out, it can be quite scary, can't it? You think, oh my goodness, have I got the right tools? That's usually the first thing. And then what do you actually do? What is the methodology? Always turn, of course, the water off before you do anything with your taps, just in case. Psh, psh, psh. You certainly don't want any of that. But I do like to try and tackle these things, or at least learn from my friends, so that I don't have to do it next time. But there we go. Shirley Lynch says, yes, small jobs or repairs often turn into big jobs. E.g., she says, for when we moved to our house, 2 of the internal door handles were locked inside, and ended up every door inside the house was faulty. You mean the doors were locked? Somebody had locked the doors, and taken the key away or something? Now, how bizarre is that? We had to get new handles and new mechanisms. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange old thing. Margaret Fennell, any relation to Mag Fennell, once lived in Panama. Husband was American. Not quite sure what you're talking about. That was Anthony Contony. Paul Clemens says, YouTube videos have sorted out many a DIY problems that I've encountered. Repairing the lawnmower, blocked sinks and restoring old furniture, just to name 3. Must have saved a fair few bob over the years and built my confidence to tackle most things in life that are thrown at me. And I agree. I think that YouTube in that way is really useful. And if you can just start small and do things and watch the videos and build your confidence up to give it a go. I mean, let's face it, most things are done, if not everything, apart from a few things, done by humans. And if one human can learn how to do something, another can. It does depend how long it takes. I mean, putting plaster on a wall so it's straight is probably not an overnight thing, but you would think it's not beyond the wit of man to get that for your own house. But maybe it is sometimes advisable to get the professional in. Who knows? Ernie says, restoring our house is well into 6 figures. Oh, my goodness. A third due to bodge jobs during the time of the previous 2 owners, 2 generations of the same family. That, of course, is the problem, isn't it? You can buy a house and you think, yeah, okay, I've got a budget, I could do this. And then you start saying, well, we'll just take that wall out and replace it. Oh, look what they've done here. That's not been properly done. That didn't come up in the survey. And oh no, oh yeah, there's asbestos in the roof. That didn't come up. Nobody told me about that. Oh my goodness. And I can see how these things can escalate, and suddenly what started out as a good idea starts out to be an expensive idea. But hopefully all the renovation that you're doing, Ernie, will be worthwhile should you ever, and I hope you don't, because I've been to your lovely house, it's absolutely smashing. Should you ever come to sell it, it will of course have accrued all that money back, hopefully, and will look really nice. And I'm looking forward to visiting again, so do invite me down. We had a laugh the last time we did. Mark Burgess says, if we have a scorcher summer, we'll end up with a chillier winter to come. Well, I don't know. Is that true? We've had some mild winters and some chillier winters. Maybe we will. I hope that it's a bit milder this year because of the cost of living crisis. It would be a bit much if we had a very cold winter and the prices of everything is extremely high. But you never know. I don't think one logically follows the other. You kind of think it would, but I'm not really convinced that that's actually how it happens. I think life is a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. Not logic. Yes, that'll do. Alice Kent says, sounds like my garden. Oh, yes. I swear, weeds are giggling and growing instantly behind me as I pull up the ones in front of me. I have no concept of time anyway. Excuse me. Yes, I'm sure a lot of gardeners have exactly the same thoughts when it comes to weeds. You pull one up, and then the next breath, there's another one. Hang on a minute. You weren't there a second ago. I thought I just pulled you up. What's going on? But they do. Mrs. T says, as my nan got older, her sense of taste and smell lessened. We noticed that whenever we ate a family meal together, when asked, how was your dinner, her response was famously, well, it was edible. That's nice, isn't it? This tended not to go down too well with whomever had cooked the meal. Yes, I'm not at all surprised. It's, it's like saying, what's this? I've made this wonderful thing for you. What do you think? You give somebody a lovely present. I've searched high and low for this. What do you think? Oh, yeah, no, it's adequate. It's such a horrible letdown. Oh, well, it was edible. It's like, right, thanks for that. This, as she says, Mrs. T says, this tended not to go down with whoever cooked the meal, but she didn't mean any harm. She just couldn't really taste it. Yes, and it's terrible when the taste goes. I remember we noticed that every time she made us a cup of tea, the milk would taste horrible. And this went on for months. None of us could quite put our finger on what the milk tasted of. And she always said that she didn't understand us. As to her, it tasted fine. Well, this would be awful. Can you imagine if you couldn't detect, or I'm sure people are like this, like Mrs. T says, you make a cup of tea and you can't tell that the milk is off, unless it actually curdles in front of you. Then we discovered one day that she was keeping Obersoil, oh my goodness, in the fridge, and the smell was getting into everything, including the milk. But as she couldn't smell or taste it, she had no idea. There is a lesson there to be learned. Please, don't put Obersoil in the fridge. I made a mistake in the van, and the lovely Julia put me right on this, of keeping a very small little box of washing powder in with the things like the packets of food, even dry packets of food and cereal and things like that. And she said, it's no good. It will permeate. The smell of the washing detergent will permeate through into the food. And sure enough, she was right. Even things like pasta in their bags, somehow by osmosis, I suppose, but some process, it did, and it made it all taste foul. So now I don't carry the washing powder anywhere near the food. If I'm away, it's in a bag in another part of the van, well away, from the food. And finally, Linda Kane says, dodgy building work, never. Been there, done that over the last few years. It's cost an enormous amount of money to get it sorted out. Still waiting for the scaffolding to go up 2 months after it was put up for the second time. Blimey. I'm sorry to hear that. So there we go. Thank you very much for all those wonderful comments. There's plenty more down there to keep having a look at. If I haven't read yours out, maybe next time. Do keep messaging. It's lovely to see it. And thank you very much. So this time, are you somebody, how do you react when things go wrong? Are you somebody who explodes and goes, oh my goodness, I can't cope? Or are you actually quite mellow? Or does it depend? Does it depend on the situation? Be interested to hear your thoughts on all of that. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.